Welcome to the Empower El podcast. I'm your host, Vero, and I'm so excited to have you join me on this journey of empowerment and growth. This podcast is designed for ambitious, high-achieving women who are ready to break free from overwhelm and step into their power. Together, we'll explore practical strategies, share inspiring stories, and hear from experts who can help you navigate the challenges of balancing ambition and well-being. Whether you're looking to cultivate confidence, transform your mindset, enhance your leadership skills, or find harmony in your life, this is the place for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Empower Ed podcast. I'm so glad that you're here to learn about something that could shift the way you lead and live. Today's conversation is all about why work-life harmony beats work-life balance. So take a deep breath and let's dive in. Can I confess something? For years, I chased work-life balance. I read the books, I listened to the podcasts, I watched the people online who seemed to have it all figured out. They had the successful career, the beautiful home, the workout routine, the healthy meals, the thriving relationships, the hobbies, the vacations. And somehow they made it all look effortless. Meanwhile, I felt like I was constantly dropping a ball. If work was going well, I felt guilty that I hadn't called my family enough. If I spent a weekend relaxing, I felt behind at work. If I focused on my business, I wondered if I was neglecting other areas of my life. It felt like no matter what I did, something wasn't getting enough attention. Maybe you felt that way too. Like you're constantly trying to keep every plate spinning at the exact same speed. And when one starts to wobble, you immediately assume you're failing. But one day I realized something. Maybe the problem wasn't me. Maybe the problem was the definition of balance I'd been chasing. When you hear the word balance, most of us picture a scale, perfectly even, everything carrying the exact same weight. 50% here, 50% there, everything equal. But here's my question. When has your life ever looked like that? Seriously, think about this week. Did your career need the exact same amount of attention as your relationships? Did your health require the same energy as your finances? Probably not. Life doesn't happen in equal pieces. Some weeks your family needs more of you. Some weeks work demands more of you. Some weeks your health become a priority. Some weeks you're planning a wedding or moving or supporting a friend, caring for a sick parent, launching a business, studying for an exam. Life moves in seasons. So why are we expecting ourselves to live every single day in perfect balance? It's an impossible standard. And impossible standards create unnecessary guilt. And that's why I stopped chasing balance. And I started pursuing harmony. I love the word harmony because it reminds me of music, and I love music. Think about an orchestra. Not every instrument plays at the same time. Not every instrument plays at the same volume. Sometimes the violin leads, sometimes it's the piano, and then sometimes the drums become the focus. And yet, together, it creates something beautiful. And that's harmony. Every piece has its moment. And every piece matters. But it's not all at the same time. And I think our lives work the exact same way. One of the biggest mindset shifts that I've made is realizing that success isn't about giving every area of my life equal attention. It's about giving each area what it needs when it needs it. And there's a huge difference. Because when you believe in balance, you constantly feel behind. And you feel like it's unachievable. But when you believe in harmony, you become more intentional. Instead of asking, am I giving everything enough? You ask, what needs me most right now? And that question changes everything. I'll give you an example. There are weeks where Empower Ed is launching something new. Maybe I'm preparing a webinar, recording podcast episodes, creating content, meeting clients. And during those weeks, work naturally gets a little more attention. Now, does that mean I've failed at life? No. Because I also know there will be weekends where I intentionally disconnect, where I spend more time with Alex, where I go for a walk, watch a movie, read a book, play ringette, go spinning, sleep in. Those moments aren't me catching up. They're simply another part of the rhythm. And that's harmony. The problem is that we've been taught to think in extremes. Either you're ambitious or you're present. Either you're successful or you're healthy. Either you're building a career or you're enjoying life. But what if that's a false choice? What if success and wellness aren't competing priorities? What if they actually strengthen each other? Think about it. When you're sleeping well, you make better decisions. When you're taking care of yourself, you're more patient, more creative, more focused. When your relationships feel healthy, you bring better energy into your work. Everything influences everything. Our lives aren't separate compartments. They're connected. And that's why I always talk about living an integrated life. Because you don't stop being a leader when you leave the office. And you don't stop being a partner when you start your workday. You don't stop being a human while you're building your career. You're all of those things, all the time. So one thing I want you to stop saying is, I just need to find more balance. Instead, try asking yourself, what feels out of alignment? Those are completely different questions. Balance assumes equal, but alignment assumes intentional. So maybe your work isn't actually the problem. Maybe you've said yes to too many things. Maybe you've stopped moving your body. Maybe you've ignored your need for rest. Maybe you've been people-pleasing for months. And maybe your calendar reflects everyone else's priorities except your own. The issue isn't always time. Sometimes it's alignment. But that's a much more empowering problem to solve. One of my favorite exercises is something I call the Wheel of Life. I encourage you to take a piece of paper and draw a wheel or a circle. Divide the wheel into the different areas of your life and write in each section the activities that fill it. Then reflect. You don't expect every section to have the same needs all the time. You simply pay attention to what needs attention. Maybe your energy gauge is low. Maybe your relationships need fuel. Maybe your career is thriving. Maybe your stress level is flashing at you. The goal isn't perfection. It never is. The goal is awareness. Because awareness gives you choice. And choice creates change. I also think harmony gives us permission to let go of guilt. And if you're anything like the women I coach, you probably carry more guilt than you deserve. You feel guilty when you're working. You feel guilty when you're resting. You feel guilty when you say no. You feel guilty when you say yes. It's exhausting. Harmony reminds us that making one area a priority today doesn't mean we're abandoning everything else. It simply means we're responding to what's needed in this season. Now, I also want to acknowledge something. Harmony isn't something that just happens. It's something you design. It requires boundaries. It requires intentional decisions. It requires checking in with yourself regularly. Because if you don't choose your priorities, someone else will. Your inbox will. Your notifications will. Other people's expectations will. Harmony doesn't happen by accident. It's created on purpose. So as we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a few reflection questions. I love doing this. First, where in your life are you chasing balance instead of creating harmony? Second, what season are you actually in right now? Not the one you wish you were in, the one you're living. Because your priorities should reflect your reality. And finally, if you stopped trying to do everything equally well, what would you intentionally give more attention to this week? Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your career. Maybe it's simply getting more sleep. There isn't one right answer. There's only the answer that's right for this season of your life. So I'll leave you with this. You were never meant to split yourself into perfect little pieces. You were never meant to be 50% employee, 50% partner, 50% friend, 50% daughter, 50% entrepreneur. That's not how real life works. Real life is fluid. It ebbs and flows. Some seasons ask more from us, and some seasons invite us to slow down. Neither is wrong. The goal isn't to perfectly balance every part of your life. The goal is to build a life where the different parts work together instead of constantly competing with each other. That's what harmony looks like. It's choosing intentionally. It's adjusting without guilt. It's recognizing that success isn't measured by how busy you are, but by how aligned you feel with the life you're creating. Because at the end of the day, that's what Empower Ed has always been about. Not choosing between success and well-being. Choosing both in a way that actually works for your life. So I remind you to keep choosing yourself, your vision, and your values. That is real power. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Empower L podcast. I hope today's episode inspired you and gave you practical insights to help you navigate your journey as an ambitious, high-achieving woman. Remember, every step you take towards building your confidence and embracing your full potential is a step closer to creating the life you truly desire. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Your support helps us reach more women who are ready to step into their power and live their best lives. Don't forget to join our community on social media for more resources, tips, and inspiration. Until next time, lead with power and live with wellness. You are unstoppable.